Today we continue with the end of the second part of the Apostles' Creed. And what? Jesus will come to judge the living and the dead people. This is one thing many people in the world today don't like. If you look at other religions, Jehovah's Witnesses, other groups, they do not like that there is a hell and there is a judgment. Often people think, oh, God is loving, He's merciful, and that is true. But God is also the judge. And that's why we announce that Jesus will come to judge the living and the dead. What happens is that people who believe in Jesus, when the judgment happens, they go to heaven. People who don't believe in Jesus, when the judgment happens, they go to hell. And the Bible is very clear what happens in hell. Physically, you have the physical suffering. You have the fire that burns forever. Can you imagine that? If you take your hand and you put it over a candle, how long can you hold it there? Oh, can you imagine that fire all over your body forever? And the worms that go and they eat your flesh forever. They go, oh, the physical suffering. I can't even imagine. But even worse than that is like, remember when you had the rich man and Lazarus? And Lazarus died and was brought to heaven. The rich man died and went down to hell. His suffering was what? I remember my family here. Please send someone to go and talk with them. He not only suffered physically, but his mental suffered. I can't even imagine what that's going to be like. I should have, I could have, wow, forever. But even worse, the suffering is going to be that when a person goes to hell, that is the end. That now means you are separated from God. You are cut off. And that wrenching, I can't even imagine how you explain that. I think the easiest way is if you were a mother or a father and you had a baby and that baby was wrenched out and they were gone. It's like, how would you feel that? That doesn't even come close to our separation from God when a person goes to hell. And so this judgment for a person who doesn't believe, that's why you and I as Christians, we need to teach people. We need to tell them, prepare them for that day, because we want them to go to heaven with us. When that judgment happens, when Jesus comes on the last day, you and I as Christians, we're not afraid. We're not, what's going to happen to us? We know when Jesus comes, He is coming to bring us home with Him to His perfect home of heaven, that we get to live forever. No sin, no suffering, no tears. But there, the joy of living with our God, with Jesus, forever, and all believers in heaven. And so that's what you and I are announcing, and we are preparing for that. Now, I want to show you a picture also. When we talk about the judgment, we have a way of showing that. So, remember we had before, we showed that you have God made us body, okay, and soul, all right? So God made Adam that way, and the Holy Spirit was, but because of sin, that's separate. So now when a person is born, they are born body and soul. What happens if they die that way? What happens to the soul? And there they stay and wait until the judgment day. Now, if that person, though, is baptized, their faith is there, the Holy Spirit is there, and they die, what happens to the soul? And then wait in heaven until that last day. On the last day, what happens? Jesus brings back, and a new body is made. And so we are made perfect, clean, no more pain, no more suffering. We have a glorified body now that we live together forever. And so that's why we celebrate. And so for people who don't believe, that judgment day, we need to prepare. But for you and I as Christians, we look forward to that day when we will live together with God forever in His